we're excited because we're at the 4th annual Lake Norman Chamber Foundation Thanksgiving breakfast, supporting some wonderful local nonprofits. One of those, is it executive director? Is it chairman? Is it president? What do you call yourself there, Pastor Judge?
Chairman is the official title.
There you go. We're going to be official. The chairman of Cornelius Early Scholars joins us this morning. Pastor Judge, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
For those who don't know, Cornelius Early Scholars, how did this organization come about?
Well, honestly, it was an inspiration from the Lord. I was working as the pastor of First Baptist Church, Cornelius, and working with Cornelius Elementary School, when the principal told me one day that 1 out of 4 children who come to Cornelius Elementary are unprepared for kindergarten. And I asked her, what do you mean by that? And she said, well, they don't know the ABCs, they can't count to 20, they may have never held a book or had a book read to them, they can't handle a pencil or scissors properly, and many of them don't have the social, emotional awareness to be able to sit in a classroom and learn.
Wow, working in the local community now at this level with this nonprofit, and previously to that, right, being a pastor, you come across a wide variety of people. Early education, does it matter in the family at all? Does it change trajectories? Does it do anything?
Oh, it absolutely does. My family has benefited from going to my children went to preschool. Likely your children went to preschool, and most of us. But what we don't really know here in Cornelius so well is there is a pocket of poverty, particularly in the Old Town Cornelius side. A few years ago, I was on the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School Equity Committee, and we had a map of Mecklenburg County where we took all the neighborhoods and stratified them by socioeconomic levels, the highest, the middle, and the lowest. And up here in the Lake Norman region, as you would imagine, we are the highest, or the middle at least, in all areas except one, and that is in Old Town Cornelius. It is in the lowest socioeconomic level of all of Mecklenburg County. And the children who are coming from there are predominantly the ones who are unprepared for elementary school, for kindergarten, and they are lacking in preschool education. And it's not because the parents don't want them to have the education, they can't afford the education. And so the Lord laid it on my heart a few years ago to do something about it, and by God's grace, Cornelius Early Scholars was born.
And so Tricia Sisson was on a little bit earlier with us, and she mentioned to us, too, that, this being the 4th annual, right, but you guys as Cornelius Early Scholars, even however long you guys have been around, you're tracking, like, the kids and keeping up with them even after they leave you. What's that been like?
Yeah. So a couple of things there. We did get started. We incorporated in 2022. We opened our classroom in September 2023, so just 1 year later. Our first year, we had 2 classrooms with 16 kids. The next year, we added a 3rd classroom, 24 kids. This year, we have a 4th classroom. We have over 30 kids. And by God's grace, next year, we'll add another classroom, and we'll have anywhere up to 50 children. How we follow those children, first of all, when they come in, we test them. And then when they leave, we test them to make sure that we are being successful in getting them ready for kindergarten. Our graduating class last year had a 145% increase in their kindergarten readiness scores, so that was a big plus. But then we do follow them on into elementary school, and we stay in touch with the parents and the children to watch them progress. And going back to your earlier question about, does this really make a difference? It makes an absolute difference, because when these children come into the public school system and they don't have any sort of preschool education, they start out behind their peers. They get pushed through the system. They stay behind their peers throughout. Studies have shown if you get to the 3rd grade and you are not reading at 3rd grade reading level, it's over. The rest of your education, you will not succeed. And so consequently, when they don't succeed and they graduate high school, they don't do well in employment. They generally have criminal issues, and they don't break the cycle of poverty. And so a lot of this is about breaking that cycle of poverty through education, and it all begins when they're 2 and 3 years old.
God certainly works miracles today, even as he always has. It's not magic, though. It takes people, and he uses people to do it. What's the team like at Cornelius Early Scholars? Because I imagine, or is it you in there with the cue cards, teaching everything?
To all those kids, right?
No, actually, I tell people that I do nothing but raise money. And Margie Nance is our director, and she has been a true gift from God. She had been in a preschool in Mooresville for about 10 years. She thought she was going to retire, and then she got the itch, and at that same time, Cornelius Early Scholars was coming around, and she came to join us. She runs that entire program and manages the staff, and so that the staff makes it work. The board as I said, our job is basically public relations and raising money. And it's funny because Dr. Mike Miltic is our secretary and manages the finances. And I always say he's the pessimist and I'm the optimist. Mike is, counting the pennies. I'm like, God will provide. God will provide, and God has provided. I mean, we were blessed in our first year to hit our fundraising goals, and every year we hit our fundraising goals, and it's because of the generosity of this community and organizations like the Lake Norman Chamber Foundation. It's just God at work, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
We're talking with Pastor David Judge of Cornelius Early Scholars. All right, you went in there, you did your speech. How'd you do up on the stage?
Well, you can ask them, and I think I did okay. They didn't throw any eggs or anything at me. So.
It's because that breakfast was so good, they ate it all up.
They ate it
so
all
fast.
up, so maybe I was.
No, I'm sure you did great. Yeah, I just love your heart for the community too. It's something that we've talked about, off the radio too. But you really do have a heart for this community, and it's really special. And I think to see the need, and then to come up with a solution to fill that need, and not just for kids who maybe are 4 heading into kindergarten, but starting them at 2. Is that what your plan is for next year?
Well, actually, this year we added 2-year-olds, and so we have 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, and we are expanding and growing the number of classrooms, and so there's a lot of need out there, and we're trying to fill that need.
It's been an interesting time too with the government shutdown. Like when you work with people every day on that socioeconomic scale where you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, or education, you're trying to do that. But again, you've been doing this for years. This isn't new for you. You've clearly got a heart for it. So what is that like, even when you think holistically beyond education? Because education is just a piece of it too for these folks.
Yeah. We were built on 3 pillars, which was academic excellence, which we achieve. Faith-based, obviously, it's a Christian preschool, and being an ordained minister, of course, that was most important to me. But from a practical perspective, you can educate someone, but if they don't have a good moral compass, what are they going to do with that education, right? And so we ingrain in them the love of Christ for them, and that He wants to have a personal relationship with them. So that's the faith-based pieces, and then the parental involvement, which is huge, because so many, by the time she was out of the preschool, she was speaking English, reading and writing English, singing songs in English. And so, again, if she went into the public school system, she would have had a much more difficult time.
It's wild, like even in the past, we'll say 5 years, it seems like, you look around the Lake Norman area and the diversity that really exists now. When you go out and about and you look around, so many different cultures, so many different, how do you process all that? I imagine you don't have applications coming out your rears, if I had to guess, right, to come into the program.
Yeah, so it's interesting. In our first year, half of the applications were in Spanish. And a number of our families are immigrant families. They don't know the culture, they don't speak the language, but they value education. And that's one of the myths that I'm trying to dispel. When people think about people who are low income, they tend to think they don't value education. That's not true. They value education. They just don't have the means to achieve it for their children. And we often talk about families where the first child to go to college, right? We're talking about children, the first child in the family to ever go to preschool. And for us, I would say preschool is kind of almost a given. Mm-hmm. But in these families, they want to get their child started out early and then succeed. And I'm waiting for the day. I would say preschool is kind of almost a given. Mm-hmm. But in these families, they want to get their child started out early and then succeed. And I'm waiting for the day. We had a young man, Nico, who's now 6. He's in first grade. I'm waiting for the day to watch him graduate high school, just to see how he progresses.
That adds me so much to the parents too, right? We talk about the kids and how we're setting them up for success, but the parents too, it has to be such a weight off of them to know that their kids are safe and taken care of, and also learning at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a caring, nurturing atmosphere where they're learning not just the academics, but they're learning about the Lord. But we do the parental classes, I may have mentioned, where they come in. Last night we did it.
Okay.
Right? So Choplin's Restaurant, God bless them, provided food for 25 adults and 25 children.
That's right.
Wow.
It's like manna from heaven there.
Yeah.
It's pretty good,
it is. And so there's a number of restaurants that have helped us along the way. But every month we we do these parental classes. Pharos Parenting out of Statesville comes down.
Wonderful organization.
Wonderful organization. They do the education classes. That's not our forte. And also UCBI Bank, they come in, they do financial wellness for the families, just to teach them basics about budgeting or whatever. One of the most appreciated classes was one on credit, where these folks who don't have credit or have bad credit, they want to know how to establish credit, maybe even buy a house someday. These people are living the American dream, but they just need assistance in getting there. And the barriers that they face are things that you and I just can't imagine.
It's awesome to hear you mention just even again that local help, right? You got local people that support, you've got local businesses that are supporting as well, other local nonprofits that you guys are able to partner with. So all around, obviously a great thing. Pastor Judge, so you've been here for a long time. You're looking at the future. What kind of it look like as you look forward? What's kind of the vision?
Oh, goodness. So my vision for Cornelius Early Scholars is to grow it. We'll probably outgrow our current location, which is First Baptist Church. So I have in mind where we're going to move to. When I first started the program, someone came to me and said, "Hey, would you like to make this a K-8 program?" And I just tucked that in the back of my head, and by God's grace, that may be where it goes. The other thing that I really would like to see is this program duplicated in other communities, right? We have the roadmap on how to make this happen. And I have spoken with the Metro Atlanta Baptist Association, and I've told them, look, if any church out there wants to start a preschool, ask me. I will show you how to do it. We've done it all, and the Lord will bless it if you're faithful to Him.
Pastor David Judge of Cornelius Early Scholars, he's the chairman of it. One of the benefactors of today's event, the 4th annual Lake Norman Chamber Foundation Thanksgiving Breakfast. Cornelius Early Scholars, along with Bridge of Hearts, the two benefactors from this morning. Thank you so much for all that you do for the community. Thank you for joining us this morning, too.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you again to the Lake Norman Chamber Foundation and the Peninsula Club for having us this morning, broadcasting live. Patrick Reynolds up next with the Home Ad Show.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9, 100.7. WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.